strongly postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome once again to another episode of Sidekicks and Flixx, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me again, special guest host, Jeff Das. What up, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I'm good. If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we're members of the Martial Arts Inner Network. Tuesdays, you have CTE, Chris, Carlos, Trav. On Wednesdays, it's us, Sidekicks and Flixx, with Gene and Mike and special guest host Jeff. Thursdays, you can get the inside scoop with Alex and Jeff. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Jeff, it's showtime.
Yes, sir. It is. I'm excited to be back, man. Thanks for having me. And,
no problem.
Yeah,
so, you know in case people were wondering where Mike's been, he did not quit the podcast.
No.
He has not been.
We didn't explain that. Yeah, we didn't explain that last week. We kind of
I'm gonna go ahead and explain it right now. Yeah. So the reason why Mike has not been on the show with me, well, last week he was actually going door to door, spreading the good news of his Savior Jesus Christ to everyone. This week he is actually at nursing homes, helping the residents out,
all right,
feeding them oatmeal and reading them bedtime stories.
All right,
pretty soon,
man, Mike, he's a great guy.
Oh yeah, he's a scholar and a gentleman.
He is. He is. Oh man.
So Mike has some other stuff going on, but he will be back pretty soon with us. So today we are talking about the movie Sidekicks.
All right, man.
Let's get into it, man. Actually, before we get into the movie, how was the weekend, man?
It was good, man. It was good. I had belt testing, and so that was fun. We had the kids actually, there, and a full on, not a virtual one. So it was the first one we've done like that in a long time, since March, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So the weekend that we all got shut down was when I had the belt test the next day, and we're like, all right, we're gonna go ahead and do that, and then go from there. But so that was fun, and then just getting ready for the week, having a busy week. It's Halloween weekend. There's so many events for me and the school to be a part of. Lots of drive-through trunk or treats and stuff like that. So it's a big weekend for martial arts instructors to spread the word about their school. So
yeah, okay.
How about you, man?
I'm good, man. I sent you that picture earlier, man. My Tuesdays are really, really busy. Every Tuesday I have to get up to the community house an hour and a half before class starts. And you saw I took a picture of my floor. Yeah. I have to lay all of those mats down.
That's huge, man. That's huge.
Yeah, it takes about between an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to lay the whole floor down.
And you do that yourself, right? You don't have.
I do it myself. No, I don't have anybody helping me. And then I have to. What kills me is I have to take it up.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Right.
Wednesday. Right. Wednesday night when I get finished.
I used to do that because we had we were trying to do a satellite program somewhere, and it was actually. It turned out to be like a bar or something. Like it wasn't originally supposed to be that. And they while we were doing, the owners turned into like a bar. So it was kind of like, all right, we need to get out of here. This isn't really the place for us to have a bunch of kids, right? But when we first started, it was like, hey, we have to put the mats down, then take them back up, and it was the same thing. But dude, I just started getting the kids at least to help with picking them up at the end of class. That way, hey, this is our dojo. Take care of it, right?
Yeah, you know what? Last year I did have a little girl who was like 8 or 9 years old, and she was a purple belt, and she took it upon herself to always gather the kids at the end of the night and start taking up the mats. But she's not with me right now.
Right.
So it's just me. But I actually, it only takes me 30 minutes to take up all the mats and put everything away. So that's not bad.
That part's easier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually the laying down of the mats that I actually hate,
Yeah.
So
I understand, man.
and you and I were texting each other Saturday evening, man. I tried to watch that Impact Wrestling pay-per-view.
Oh, right.
I just couldn't do it. I just turned it off and had my second viewing of Sidekicks.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
yeah. I ended up, while we were talking, that's what I ended up doing, was watching Sidekicks, and then I wish I would have watched Sunday night, because Sunday night sounded like a good show. The Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I saw the last 3 matches. They weren't bad. It kind of surprised me. The final match actually surprised me. But I'm gonna get into some wrestling after we get to the review.
All right. Cool,
and
cool.
also we have a special guest coming on tonight.
Yes.
You want to give him an intro?
Yeah, so we have Wayne Wynn coming on. He plays the White Ninja, and he has some other different roles throughout the movie. So we're gonna get some behind the scenes scoop about the movie. So it's gonna be pretty sweet. He is a big time Texas legend in sport karate, and he has taught a lot of people and influenced a lot of people with the nunchuck. So when we had Matt Emming on our show about the nunchucks, that was one of the first guys that he mentioned was Wayne Wynn, the White Ninja. That I'll never forget, the White Ninja in Sidekick. So yeah,
that form was sweet. That was sweet as hell, man. I remember liking that as a kid.
Right.
Back when I was a teenager. I never tried to use the nunchucks as a weapon. I think Trav tried to use it for a little while. He never did a form or nothing like that, but he was just trying to get the mechanics of it. I used the size, or tried to learn how to use the size, but I never did that in a tournament or anything like that.
Yeah, the nunchucks for me the past 10 years has become my weapon. It was always Kama's when I was younger, but I just fell in love again recently with nunchucks as I started teaching and stuff. So,
were you influenced because of Wayne Wynn and Sidekicks?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It's hard to say. I mean, just there's so many different people. Even though when I was growing up, there wasn't that many that did nunchucks very well. At tournament, there was a few that were high level, like Gemma and Chris Casamassa and Saeed Del Cash from Red Dragon. They were the only ones that were really doing nunchucks. And then Wayne, it was really big in the NBL. And so when I switched over to do some NBL, then I started seeing more nunchuck. So. Okay. That's cool. I mean, everyone in Texas, if you're in Texas, you probably know how to do the nunchuck, and a lot of that is because of Wayne.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sweet.
So we'll get into that tonight too. So.
All right, let's jump into the movie, man.
Yes, sir. I know.
Sidekick. For some people who, if you've never seen the movie, the first time you see it, you might think that it's a Karate Kid knockoff.
Right.
And I kind of think the writers and the producers try to stay away from being compared to the Karate Kid movie, because just like in the Karate Kid, we have a kid who is getting bullied. But even though my brother always says that Johnny was a bully to Daniel, I personally don't think that he was bullying.
I don't think so.
Daniel.
Not that much. Not to the extent like this. Yeah.
This is bullying. This is
especially when someone has an issue to a medical type thing, and I mean, which we'll get into, but
right. So if you don't know, the main star of the movie is a teenager. He's about 15 to 16 years old, I'm assuming, in the movie, and his name is Barry. Now Barry is asthmatic. His asthma comes on just by situations. He's not even doing anything athletic. If someone says the wrong thing to him, his asthma gives him problems.
Right.
I felt kind of sorry for him every time that happened. You know?
No, I did. I mean, and I'm glad. Well, we'll get in that scene, but when he really just says, you know what, like I gotta beat this. I can't let this control me. That was a real powerful scene and change of the movie, and I think that's why this movie stands out to a lot of people is that that personal like development of pushing through and getting through those struggles. So I thought it was cool.
And not only does he have asthma problems, but he has some type of mental problem also because
I think so.
because he starts to daydream, and when he daydreams, it's at the wrong time when he's daydreaming, you know.
Right.
And you know, his daydreams, he imagines that he is the sidekick of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is his hero, and he wants to be like him, and he wants to be you know, his partner, almost like Chuck Norris is Robin. That's he wants to be. He wants to be Robin. Right. he doesn't want to be the hero. He wants to be the sidekick. You know. You know, so Barry has some issues, and I think in this day and age, somebody probably would have put him on some type of medication.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was talking to imaginary people, so yeah.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean,
it wasn't like it was just daydream. He was actually speaking to the, you know, so it's a little different.
And that's what happened at the beginning of this movie. So the beginning of the movie starts off when we are in one of his daydreams.
Right.
And, you know, there's a woman who was captured. We later find out that that's his teacher, which was weird also for most of the movie. He is imagining that him and Chuck Norris are saving his teacher.
Yeah.
I never had any daydreams about any teachers that I
really. You didn't have that good looking teacher that you know?
Zero.
there
was never an attractive teacher that I had. You know?
I had plenty. I had a bunch.
No, I did not ever get turned on by women who were in their 60s or 50s or nuns, because I went to a Catholic school.
Oh wow, okay.
From first grade through eighth grade.
Oh my God!
You know, and I had a couple years where I went to a Lutheran school, so no, I never had any type of attraction to any of those people who were my teachers. And even in high school, like it was no eye candy for teachers for me. You know, he's daydreaming, and in the first scene, we see him and Chuck Norris. The woman is captured, and then him and Chuck, they go to rescue her. They're being attacked by all of these guys who are dressed like ninjas, and they are also dressed as ninjas, but they have their outfits are white. Everyone else is in black, and then they're in white.
Yeah.
Now he's talking to Chuck, and I wrote down what he says in his daydream because it made me laugh, even though it shouldn't have been a funny situation.
Right.
But after they ended up saving his teacher, he looks at Chuck and he says, "Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, all you have to do is ask Chuck." And he, like you said, Jeff, he says this in real life. So he's actually in his classroom and he says this, and it snaps him out. Yeah. And all of the class members of the class, they start laughing.
Laughing at him and making fun of him. Yep.
Right. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so right there, if you can see, that's Wayne right there. Wayne Wynn, that who will be on in a little bit. That's him as one of the classmates. So
yeah. You know, his teacher ends up waking him up out of this daydream. Now there is a young lady in the class who seems like the only one who's not laughing at him, and her name is was it Lauren or
Winnie. It's Winnie.
Lauren.
Sorry.
Well, it is Winnie years. It is, but I didn't want to associate her with Wendy from the Wonder, because I didn't watch the Wonder Years too much, and when I did, I didn't like her.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. I watched the Wonder Years a lot as a kid, so yeah.
Man,
I don't know why, but yeah. I really don't know why, but yeah.
But she comes to his defense, and a lot of times I was assuming that she had some type of attraction for him, but that really was not the case at all.
No.
You know, we'll get to that later. But his teacher tells him that she wants to talk to his dad because of all of the daydreaming that he had.
Right.
So when the teacher and his dad speak, his dad let me know that, okay, he is not actually spending a lot of time with Barry.
No.
So he works in computers. I don't really think they ever got around to saying what exactly that he did.
No.
You know, it's a sad situation.
Yeah. No mom. The mom died right?
Yeah. Well, she
Passed away.
did. Yeah, she did die. They don't talk about that really at this point in the movie. Couple scenes later, when they go to dinner, he lets them the teacher know that there was a dark time for him and Barry. And you kind of just put two and two together and figure it out.
Correct.
And when I was watching it, I don't know why I always analyze stuff and try and make it real, like it's really happening. But I was wondering, was that the point where he started to daydream?
Yeah, probably so. I mean, that would make sense, I mean, most people, I'm one of the ones when I had, some type of big traumatic loss in my family, I started doing all kinds of crazy habits and bad habits and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, I think that's probably the case, that would make sense.
It just kind of hit me. Maybe the reason why he's daydreaming about his teacher, because she is one of the few people that really actually shows him that she cares about him.
Right.
Right. So maybe that's why. So as they're talking, the teacher, her name is Miss Chin, Noreen Chin, and his dad are talking. His dad is kind of coming up with excuses and saying that, he's asthmatic and, which I understood, you text me Saturday when you saw that, and you looked at that as an excuse that you wasn't having it.
Yeah. I mean, because I had asthma as well too, as a kid, and I just remember just being like, the more you kind of push towards that you have it, it's just like something to fall back on, and an excuse. You know what I mean? And again, there's a scene where the kid, actually takes the initiative to say, "I'm not letting that happen anymore." Yeah, and that was powerful to me. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but instead, everyone wants to take the hit from that inhaler. I'm just saying.
So after that, after the teacher and he talked, I think his dad's name is actually Jerry. After Jerry and Miss Chen talk, Jerry decides that he's going to take Jerry and Barry. Wow. He's going to end up taking Barry to a karate program, and a guy named Kelly Stone, who is played by Joe Piscopo.
Yes. Now this part is pretty much, in some ways, it's like a parody of Karate Kid, almost in this way.
Yeah,
right?
John Kreese, because he is taking things to the extreme. The way he's portraying this character, like he is really, really overacting and trying, but it's like he's overacting, but he's overacting on purpose.
Right.
He's trying to give us the perception that he's a tough guy, but he's also goofy.
Yeah, like super goofy.
Super goofy. And that part kind of took me out of the movie every time he would come on and do something that was pretty ridiculous, pretty stupid to me.
Right.
Right. So they go to the karate school, and Jerry is trying to get his attention. He's trying to get Stone's attention. Stone is actually teaching class. And I don't know why he thinks that Stone is going to just stop class
to talk. Yeah, I don't
just to talk to him. So he steps on the mat, and that gets Stone's attention.
Oh man! Now, all right. In this case, I'm pretty sure all karate instructors probably would not do the exact same way, but be upset the same way, right?
Yes.
So we get that part, right? It's like, hey, don't interrupt me while I'm working.
Yeah. So, a lot of times when I have people come, they want to speak to me, I will. A lot of times you just know. You'll see a face that you've never seen before. And, I'll just kind of motion to them, give them a head nod, or give them a, hold on one second, and then let them know that I'll be with them, and then when I give, my students a break, then I'll go over and, and talk to them,
Yeah. That's same way. Yep.
Yeah. So he talks to him, and he takes him to the office, and he talks, and he is just overacting, and Barry is trying to. It looks like Barry is reading the situation because he doesn't want his dad to embarrass him, because his dad kind of embarrassed him when he stepped onto the mat. Mm-hmm. But Barry is trying to be on Stone's good side. So he even says, "Well, it looks like you've won a lot of trophies. Looks like you could probably even take out Chuck Norris." Right. And when he says that, Stone gets upset, You know, and he starts going off on Chuck Norris and how Chuck Norris stopped competing because of him.
Yeah. Right. This is what, in the 90s, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He stopped competing like 30 years before this. It's crazy.
Right. So they end up leaving. Once he starts going off on Chuck Norris, you know, the dad kind of knows, okay, it's time to get out of here. This guy's a nut, you know, let's be out, you know.
Let's be honest, he is.
Right. Next scene after that, we have Barry. It looks like he is watching TV and he's watching a Chuck Norris movie. And during this Chuck Norris movie, he decides to starts daydreaming about that he is actually in the film. And the bad guy in the film, in his daydream, is actually Stone. And once again, his teacher is caught up. She's in trouble, and there she goes. She's
oh man, this is terrible. So I was telling you, some of these scenes are actually in some way related to actual Chuck Norris movies, right?
Right.
So like there's ones like Delta Force and different ones like that. He was in a lot of like military type.
You know, honestly, man, I'm gonna be 100% honest. The only Chuck Norris movies I've seen is this movie here, Sidekicks, and also I saw the one with him and Bruce Lee.
Okay.
But other than that, I've never really seen a Chuck Norris movie.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I've never seen what the big deal was about this guy. You know,
about Chuck?
Not really. No, I mean, I just never saw his movies, and you know, I never saw him compete or anything. You know, so
right.
I've never even seen a documentary about him. You know,
that is something that they need to do, is a documentary on him. Because I mean, as big as a legend, especially with all the jokes and everything, you know, like come on, like, everybody should probably be.
They talk about how tough he is.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you never watched Walker Texas Ranger? Come on.
No, I'm gonna be honest. Like that looked stupid to me. That's why I never saw it. I said, okay, so
you'll have to do season one time. I'm just kidding.
I don't think I can make it through, man. I was like a karate cowboy. This is what they're telling me.
Right.
I can't do it. I can't watch.
Well, a lot of that's true. Billy Jack back in the day and all that. So we'll get into that another time. All right.
Okay. So you know, he ends up being woken up again by his dad, because his dad saw him just kind of staring at the TV, and he kind of snaps him out of it. And Barry gets ready to talk to his dad about something. He just wanted to have somebody to talk to, but his dad's not really paying attention to him. And when that happens, Barry kind of just says, well, forget it. I'm not going to worry about it, but then his dad noticed. I think his dad is starting to realize, okay, maybe I'm not giving him as much attention as I should be giving him.
Right. Right.
Real quick, looks like our guest is here. Real quick, before we get to our guest, what I want to do is just talk about the next scene real quick. We're going to talk he's in his classroom again, and he's reading his magazine. Once again, he starts daydreaming. Again. This time he's actually not in a film though. He's daydreaming, and he thinks that he's in class, and he sees Chuck Norris telling him to watch out.
Right.
And Chuck is outside, and he is actually inside. He's looking out the window trying to figure out what is Chuck trying to tell him. And eventually turns around and he sees some ninja, and he gets scared and he jumps, and it's actually his teacher waking him up once again. And now his teacher tells him that, she wants to meet with him and his dad at dinner, and she wants to introduce Barry to her uncle. And her uncle, she says, if he likes you, he will end up, teaching you karate.
Teach you karate, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She said when she said that, it made me wonder, why didn't she just say kung fu? Because it looks like the styles that they're doing in the movie it seems like their style is more kung fu and not karate.
That's true. I think maybe she just thought, everyone at that time just thinks karate, all martial arts is karate. That's probably what it was. That's the only thing I could think of. But yeah, I mean, they wear, kung fu types, outfits and everything. So
Yeah.
So I think, mostly their stuff is kung fu. So
yeah. So then, we see Mr. Lee. He is introduced. He's a little bit different than Mr. Miyagi. He's a little bit, I don't know. It's like he's serious, but he's also fun at the same time.
Right.
This scene here, is our first introduction to him. And this guy was really, really rude that he was talking to.
Yeah.
And there's a Chinese guy that's smoking a cigar. This other guy wants him to put it out. They're getting ready to get on the subway. And, he tells them that. But the guy is really, really rude.
Yeah.
And he ends up taking the cigar from the gentleman, and he does like a little magic trick. And he blows the cigar away, and then we later find out that the cigar is actually in his pocket, the rude guy's pocket,
Right.
All right. You want to bring our guest in?
Yeah, let's bring in Wayne, man. Let's do it.
All right.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? Good evening.
Doing good.
Good. How you doing?
Great. You still doing your thing down there, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
You're amazing with those high kicks. I remember that every time I see you compete.
Thank you, man. Thank you. This is the first time you met Eugene. This is Eugene Plowden.
Eugene, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yes, sir.
So we're excited to have you on, and like we said, like I told you before, we're reviewing Sidekicks. So this podcast, and I'm not normally on the podcast, but it's sorry, see, I always mess it up. Kicks,
Sidekicks and Flixx.
Yes, and so we talk about martial arts movies. All right.
Yes, sir.
And so Sidekick is the one, and it figured, hey man, let's bring on the White Ninja. I went back and watched this, and I didn't remember that you were in so many other scenes as well. So tell us a little bit about those scenes, and then of course as we get in more into the movie, about the White Ninja stuff. But
I guess when the auditioning came out, basically it's just a scene that you have to audition for, like any movie. I went to Texas back then, or even the United States back then. Not a lot of people did nunchucks back in the early 90s.
Right.
So I started competing a lot with nunchucks and started doing some movements and spins, and so I kind of created my own style with the nunchucks, especially with the double. And it's hard back in those days because all the weapons back in those days were all commas and bows.
Yeah.
The competition level. So it was hard to be recognized. So I just stayed with it. And then one day there was a movie, Sidekicks, being auditioned here in Houston. And it felt like a karate tournament. You go inside and they want to see someone who do nunchucks. I was like, okay, I'll do nunchucks. I think Linda Denley was the one that called me up and said, hey, you got to go there and do audition. So I did. And
nice.
Inside, I remember you see 40, 50 people auditioning for the White Ninja. And I didn't think at the time, what is the scene for? So they didn't tell you what you're auditioning for and what you're playing, but they said something about the White Ninja. So I was like, okay. So going inside the competition, and I would see people in the tournament that I normally see doing bows and commas walking in with nunchucks. And, you're like, wait a minute, you do chucks? Like you do. So I was like, wow, it's amazing. Everybody's doing chucks today. So
that's awesome.
That was kind of fun. And I remember getting up, and it was quiet. People would do their forms, and there'd be a light clap. And then all of a sudden, I come up. And back then, I was getting to be pretty popular in the competition. I was winning a lot, and so I got up and I performed. And I remember the director was there and filming, and I remember Rick Pareto was there. And I was performing. By the time I was done, everybody started cheering. It felt like a tournament.
Yeah.
Almost in my head, it's so funny because I didn't want to sound conceited. I just knew I got it.
Yeah.
Because I just see the smile on the director's face and said, thank you. And I just left that night and felt really confident. And then the very next day, I got the phone call. So that was kind of neat. So
wow.
How I got the part to play the bullies and all that was kind of funny because I was just laying around, they were basically putting me in the costume, and it's the movie business is really tough. You don't know when you're up. So I had to be there at 5 a.m, 4 a.m, and I would stay there till everybody leaves. And it was a scene for 2 weeks straight. And I'll be there from 5 a.m, thinking I was going to be up soon throughout the day. And I would be sleeping in the back room somewhere back there. And it was kind of funny because I just didn't do anything. And then one day the director just looked at me and said, "Hey, you wanted you to play the bully with the main character, with one of the bully characters." So I was like, okay. So they put me in uniforms. They put me in. I had a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
I didn't know about movies. I didn't know a lot about movies back then, but I had a lot of scene. I had Joe Piscopo would kick me in the stomach and punched and did a lot of scene where I was bowing. And I don't think I'm going to be in the whole entire movie. You know, you really think that, but then after the movie came out, I was like, wait a minute, where's my other scene?
Yeah.
You know, everything was in the cut room. So now I knew back then how the movie business worked, that no matter what scene you're in, don't expect it to be in there. You know,
Right.
So it was kind of funny. But ironically, with the movie, it brought back a lot of history, because when I was 20, I was 21 at the time. And it's funny because all the scenes that they put it in, like the gym scene and the classroom scene, there was a classroom scene in a real middle school. And it's funny because the middle school that they filmed it in was my middle school that I in.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I remember walking in the classroom and they set the class. It was a condemned school. It closed down for like 10 years.
Okay.
I remember they just said the movie's gonna be over here. So I was like, okay. I went to there. I said, wait a minute, this is my school. So I remember walking inside there, and it's all, you know, hot in there, and there's no school going on. It's been closed for 10 years, and I'll be walking into my own classroom.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing the movie scene that
That's
you're
right.
now in your middle school classroom? I'm sitting in this room, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is where I used to do art class. And
This had to be a good feeling.
It was a really weird feeling, to be honest with you. I mean, every scene in that movie was a little piece of history for me, because I got to go back to my middle school that now it's torn down. Right after the movie was done, they tore it all down. So I had a little history there to be kind of see my classes when I was a little child, and walking through the hallways, going to the gym scene. It was kind of weird. I mean, it kind of brought a lot of memories, and every time I plugged that movie in and played with the movie Sidekicks to my kids, when I watch it, I must have watched it a few hundred times actually. And watched it, you know, it's just, you just look at it and it brings back a piece of history of my school where I used to go to in middle school. So it's kind of weird. Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Wow. Yeah. I mean, just imagine if, you know, you would never think that, you know, you'd be going to school, and then there's a movie being made in your school. Yeah, that's crazy feeling.
People don't know that, but
Right.
only my friends know that. And
Right.
It was funny. And I never really wanted to be in the movie business, to be honest with you. But after that movie, you know, I know a lot of people go to Hollywood and try to be an actor. My heart was always teaching karate and teaching martial arts, and it's always been like that. And it still is. I don't know if you know, I work for Chuck Norris Kickstart.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I know that.
What I do.
Yeah, it's Russ. Yeah. So he works with the explain the Kickstart program just for those that don't know.
I'm not familiar with it.
And that's another funny thing about that. Sidekicks, you know, some of the guys, not the directors, but I guess you call it what do you call it, choreographers?
Yeah, choreographers. Yeah.
And like Rick Pareto would come up and they'll ask me, and Ed Sines will come up and ask me, hey, we're about to start a program called the Kick Drugs Out of America program. And back then it was called Kick Drugs Out of America program. Now it's called Kickstart. So I remember kickstarting like 6 schools. I remember going to every single middle school, doing a demonstration with my best friend, Luis Garcia. And me would go out there and we'd perform our 2-man kata. And my best friend also was in the movie, and he was doing his fight scenes with Joe Piscopo. And so it was funny because everybody in that movie are from Texas, and everybody in that time were the best competitors in Texas. So you actually had almost every martial artist in that movie. I mean, in that movie from Texas that are famous, Ishmael Robles and all these kickboxers, famous kickboxer. And so that was kind of a fun thing. But, you know, going back to the history of it, it was just Kickstart was basically a program which is a nonprofit, and Chuck Norris wanted to bring karate in schools, in all the middle schools throughout America. So he got the older George Bush to endorse the program, and got fundraising and foundation started, and eventually it just blew up. And at that time, I was doing a lot of all these schools just to kickstart the program, not knowing that I was going to join the program much later. But I had my own karate school for about 10 years. And then after that, I decided to get into the Kickstart program because all of my students started joining. You know, I had Mr. Petway, I had, you know, Angel Weta, and some of my other black belts I had that joined. I think Brandon McCrae was one of my students that used to join. And a lot of my students started doing Kickstart. So I was like, okay, I'm going to join. So 15 years ago, I started joining Kickstart. But it's funny because it all started from Sidekicks.
Yeah.
Then
wow.
Actually, it kind of got into me getting involved with Mr. Norris and his program. So I really love what I do. And I've been doing it for 15 years.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
Now, did you so you were the White Ninja at the tournament. Were you also one of the White Ninjas at the beginning of the movie?
No, I'm not that talented. Those guys were flip-flopping, and I was like, man, they did that in California. So that was
all right.
That was an interesting. Everybody asked me that. You know what? They asked me so much where I said, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, right. Man.
So did you do any of the sparring that was in the movie at the end of also? Because I know you said you were in other parts. No.
I was in the back room sleeping most of the time doing that. You know what time I did my scene? My scene was at 1:00 in the morning when everybody was gone.
Wow.
Have you ever worn a mask and tried to do your katas with a mask on? I mean, have you done that before? I never done.
Just recently, but
they put a mask on and you're performing. They go, okay, ready? I was like, okay, ready. I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm done, right? And I'm thinking, okay, that's a cut. Can you do it again? I'm like, what? I'm tired.
So you got to get the different angles.
Yes, and so I had to break my form down throughout the night, but it took us about 2 hours to film it. And it was just, you know, section by section by sections. And it was fun. It was a really interesting time in life. And I think that's gave me the recognition that helped me, you know, get to where I am today. So
yeah, definitely.
The nickname that I like to have, yes.
Yes, the White Ninja. Let's see the big jump split kick, man. Boom. Yeah. This is so cool.
And it's so funny because I do a split in there where I jump and I land in a split. They took that out.
Wow.
I guess they don't want to see the kid thinking that he can do a split on the floor. So the jump, my people know me as the guy who does a jump spinning hook kick landing on a split, and that was what I do a lot in the competition. But yeah, back then no one did the nunchucks. You know, I love doing the scene, and I heard a lot of martial artists watched the movie and told me that later on in their life, that's the reason why they got into martial art. You guys know Matt Emick. He kind of gave me some props that he saw the White Ninja, and that's when he likes doing the nunchucks. So, you know, all these guys who are growing up, I'm just part of their history. So I'm glad that I was
pretty cool
piece of them wanting to go out there and compete and enjoying, you know.
Definitely. Explain the tournament scene, because the tournament, I mean, again, like you said, it has people from like just Texas sport karate history is just right there. You could see it's pretty awesome just seeing Mr. Dixon and I think Minshew and some of those guys there. And even the one person that isn't from Texas was in there. Kim Do. Well, yes, Bob Wall, and then Kim Do as well was there.
Yes.
And so it was really cool because it kind of made you get into that tournament feel, which I thought this movie did way better than like Karate Kid or whatever. You know, like it was more realistic, I guess, closer. I mean, they still didn't wear, you know, headgear, but at least they had pads on, you know, which at least makes it like what's going on. What year was this, Wayne?
I think the movie was shot in 92 and it came in 93 or 94, somewhere around there, 93.
Okay. I knew it was around that range, but I most of
age, how old were you then? Were you like 7 or 8?
I was 8 in 92, yeah, but when it came out, I was probably like 9 or 10. So yeah, I was getting onto the scene at that time. So awesome. Seeing, for me, I was thinking 92 because of the form that Kim Do did. That's kind of the way I you know, when you're a sport karate person, you relate the years to sport karate history.
And you're right. He was the man.
Yeah.
It came out in December of 92 in Germany. and US 93, April 90 in 93.
Wow.
Yes.
So it released in Germany first. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, man, I mean, it was so cool. Just, I think the tournament scene to me was one of the better tournaments that we've seen in movies. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Gene?
I like the tournament because it was a little bit different. I would like to see that a real tournament like that, where
Teams.
everyone it's a team, and you have one person that's your forms person, the weapons person, the breaking, and then the fighting. I mean, I think that would be fun to watch a tournament like that. I don't know how you would do the fighting though. I mean, you would have to say, for this tournament, unless you wanted to skip the weight divisions, you have to say, well, this is for heavyweights or lightweights, or I don't know how you would go about doing that.
Just have to be adult black belt men or something like that, and just make it where it's all together. That's the only way I could think of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, it's similar to what we've kind of been working with and talking with as far as with the main network of having the face-offs.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, have you ever been in a tournament, Wayne, where they did that?
Where there was a team? I don't think so. I mean, that's something that I don't think you could do that, because you would have so many divisions, because you have the adults and you have the kids and breaking. Right. I mean, it would just be a massive, being involved, which
it would have to be an invitational type thing where there's 8 to 10 or something like that teams, and you have everyone that's just, you have your set people who are going to compete in whatever division that they're going to compete in. And maybe they would have to, I mean, it might make for a long day, having it one person at a time, like they have it, as far as when it comes to forms and breaking, it will make for a long day. Yeah.
Well, and this was one stage, and everyone was so it wasn't multiple rings and stuff like you would see at normal tournaments. So this is more, almost had like a nighttime finals feel.
Well, you know what, you're right about that, because now thinking back to it, when I walked onto the stage, it felt like a tournament, because they made it look like a tournament. They had the big floor, they had all the signs up with ring 1, ring 2, ring 3, and they just had that main central with a big fist on the mat, and so it felt like a tournament. I mean, when you were there, I was a spectator throughout the day because I was waiting for my scene. I didn't know when I was up. It's almost as if they don't tell you. They just say, okay, be here from this week, from Sunday for 2 weeks, and then you'll be up when we want you. So it's kind of like that. And I remember,
where was that filmed at?
That one was filmed at, God, let me think. It was a college past downtown. I forgot exactly what college it was, but it was a university, and it was a pretty big university that was out there. But yeah, it was a lot of the filming that they did was throughout Houston. So they captured a lot of things at the Galleria, and they captured things out in other middle schools as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So before we let you go, what were you going to say, Gene?
I was going to ask you, so what did you think about the story of the movie?
Yeah,
I loved it. I think, it worked perfectly for Mr. Norris. I mean, he made a lot of movie, and so every dream was pieces of his movies, and so
that's what Jeff was telling me. Yeah,
it's amazing. I mean, I thought it was a well done movie. I mean, for a kids movie being PG, you can let your kids from elementary school to middle school kids watch it. There's not a lot of movies out there that you can actually play in schools, without getting in trouble for. But it's a very safe movie to play. I play it in my classroom all the time just to show our kids, and it's a movie that you could show people about what martial arts is all about. So definitely is related to more like a Karate Kid movie. Yeah. And it's funny when you said that about the Kung Fu outfit. I never thought about that. Yeah, why I
mean, I was thinking about that as I was watching it doing my second viewing of it Saturday. I said, okay, well, it looks like her form that she's doing her kata, she's doing a Kung Fu kata. And some of the
I'm hard style.
Right. That's what was weird. Yeah.
I never thought of it that way. Wait a minute, you're right. He's Kung Fu, and I'm like hitting hard. I'm not like a Kung Fu guy, but hey, movie business, I guess it didn't matter.
And one of the things that we see when we see Mr. Lee training I almost called the kid Daniel. Barry, when we see him training him, he's doing different things, and I could tell that's a kung fu move that he's doing. And I don't understand why they just didn't say, I'm teaching him kung fu. They did it in that remake of the Karate Kid, even though it was called the Karate Kid, but they specifically said throughout the movie that he's learning kung fu.
Right.
So yeah. I guess to Hollywood, karate and kung fu is the same thing, so it doesn't matter to them.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny when you said that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any scenes? Did you have any? Sorry about that, Jeff. Did you have any scenes with Mr. Norris?
Man, let me think. Not really, particularly Mr. Norris. Well, it's funny because all the scene that I see him, I'm there. We're always kept a distance from him at the time where he would come in and do his scenes, and we would be respectful, and no one would sit there and talk unless he comes up to you and talks to you. So it's kind of like that respect thing. You don't want to jump in there and act like a fan, even though
it's funny you said that, because as I was watching the movie, when he came into the tournament, they walked up to him and spoke. No one kept them away. They were able, Miss Chen and Mr. Lee were able to walk up to him and talk to him and convince him to join this team. Right? But you said on the movie set, that they kept him at a distance. And I would think that would happen in real life if Chuck Norris came to a tournament. You would not just be able to walk up to him so freely. I wouldn't think.
Well, he does go to tournaments. He's been to a couple of tournaments here in Houston, even to some of my students' tournament, and actually had his kids compete. Mr. Norris had children, so
he's that accessible. You can just walk up to him.
Well, he has bodyguards, and all of us are told not to go up. Right. We got to keep our distance. We have to show respect, and so we don't act like a fan, but we are a fan. When he comes up and talks to you, like, oh my God, he talked to me. My hands. I actually sat next to him one time when we went to a Christmas party, and Mr. Norris invited us up to his ranch, and I would be literally sitting right next to him, and he's like sharing all his stories. And I'm just sitting there going, look at my wife and going, sitting next to Mr. Norris. He's telling me about Bruce Lee movies. He's telling me about all these things. I'm like, that's so cool.
That's awesome.
I'm your biggest fan, but he was just right next to me, and we're like eating and talking, and I was just sitting there going, this is awesome.
Go ahead.
That's it.
No, it's like Chuck Norris is like, he's like the king or the president of Texas, really.
Yeah, he's right next to Bruce Lee. He's the last guy that you would think from the era of Bruce Lee.
He is. Yeah, he is that last one. It's weird because even Gene was telling me, like, some people still haven't really seen that many of his movies, but they know the name.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like that name just stands out, and he's like, he is Mr. Karate. But not many people can name one of his movies besides maybe Sidekick, really, when you think about it.
Octagon for me, that's my favorite.
Yeah, right. See, I always like the was it Missing in Action and the Delta Force and those. And then there was the one, I can't remember, the one with Bill Wallace in it. And that was a good one as well.
Yes.
But yeah, there was.
But the Bruce Lee one was the most famous one.
Way of the Dragon.
Yeah, and that was his road to being famous. That one movie is all it took to get him, into.
And really, Walker Texas Ranger was what most people like now, man. Most people know that. I remember I had grandparents coming in to my karate school, and that's what I would say. Did you see the newest episode? I'm like, no, I don't really watch that. Grandparents love Walker Texas Ranger, man.
I would never tell Mr. Norris I haven't seen one episode full in my life. I try to. Then I'm like, okay, man, I'm just not getting into this right now. So.
Yeah.
Kids love it though. I know there's people that loves that show. I'm just, to me, it was a difficult thing to watch for a while. I hope he's not watching this. I hope it's this, so no one tells him that he's going to get in trouble.
We will tell
I hope he is watching. That's going to help him remember.
That's right. I think my Kickstart buddies are probably watching this right now because I shared it on my Facebook. So
they'll watch it
right now.
They'll watch it later.
Say no more.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well,
So you
thanks.
said
Yeah,
so
go ahead,
before
man.
you go, so you said you didn't have any interest of being in any other movies, but did you have an interest in being a choreographer for any
Yeah.
other movies or stunts or anything like that?
You know, again, if I was going to really want to pursue that, I would have moved to Hollywood, and you couldn't pursue it here. I mean, being in Texas and Hollywood's all the way, thousands of
Right.
miles away. I don't think you can possibly. I don't know anybody here in Texas that made a career out of any kind of movie business. I mean, I have friends that try to get in movie business here in Texas, trying to
Right.
be a producers and actors, but you can't get anywhere. You have to move to Hollywood. And unless I did that, if I had to go back in time, maybe I could have pursued that. And knowing myself, if I did go to California, I probably would have gotten into the movie business as a stunt double. I would feel, but yeah.
Okay.
It's not an easy business. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody. I think it's a tough, definitely a tough business.
Yeah. We've talked to so many, and I mean, we have a lot of friends that are in that now, and they've done well, but it is a tough business, I mean, my instructor, John Blair, he's
I didn't know he was your instructor.
Yeah, he's made it big time, so and guys like Hiro Hito is the choreographer for Cobra Kai and a lot of other things. So they've been successful, but yeah, you got.
I see a lot of I see John Chung a lot.
Oh yeah. So you have
is his name John Chung? No, his name is Chung.
Arnold Chung.
The bald guy. What's his name?
Arnold
Chung.
Yeah. I was like, John, I don't know about that. But
Jeffopedia strikes again. There you go.
So
I'm getting old.
I mean, right now, it's Georgia has picked up for a lot of Atlanta area has picked up for a lot of movies, for TV shows and stuff. Actually, Wilmington, North Carolina was big for a while.
Didn't you dabble in it to yourself? You didn't dabble.
I didn't. No, I haven't. Thought about it some, but it's funny now. I have people asking, that, and I'm like, why are you gonna, get me now when I'm like 36, But
it's never too late. Right. It's never too late.
It's never too late.
I'll switch with you any day. I'm almost 50. Right. I can't believe it.
Oh man, dude, this was fun. Like getting some insight, and talking to you. Share what you're doing right now as far as with I know with your karate school, but share your league about TKO and that.
I'd be glad to. TKO is I love the sport of martial. I used to do NBL. I used to do a lot of tournaments, and I had probably 50 black belts that goes to NBL back in my days. All my students would go and compete in NBL. We were really big supporter of it. And then I decided to get out of the national arena and started doing local tournaments. And what I did in the past 10 years was help other promoters become promoters, because in order for Texas sport karate to grow, you have to start within your own state and a league. And there was a lack of leadership in sport karate here in Texas because a lot of tournaments was not at the caliber that it should. Most of our kids would go to the local tournament, and then you go to the NASCA tournament, you're going to get your butt whooped. And so we wanted to make sport karate here in Texas much bigger than anything has ever seen. So I started the TKO League with a lot of passion to make sure to create more promoters, to look at these promoters and bring them into our league and say, hey, I would go to a tournament. I'll see one promoter bringing 20 students, and I can see his kids winning. I'm like, this is the kind of promoter I need to make this organization successful. So I would bring all these promoters. So all the best fighters right now, Chance and all these Vito, all these guys, they're all part of TKO, and my job is to make them successful. And that's really what I wanted the sport, because I could see the sport was dying here in Texas, and we're going outside of Texas to compete. And there was not enough tournaments here locally to get these kids prepared for these big tournaments. So you know how it is. You have to have a tournament every weekend or every other weekend, so that way these kids can have a place to go and compete at this level, and then go out there and be able to do well in the NASCA League and all these other tournaments that are all over the country. So TKO League is all about helping the sport of Texas continue to grow and keeping the legacy that AOK and all these other organization has put forth. So all I did is I just made more promoters become promoters. I mean, the way it grows is you have to have a leadership, and you have to have a team of good promoters hosting professional events. And
Right.
I'm doing it. I work hard every year, so my promoters know what I do for them, and that's really what makes us successful. I mean, you'll hear a lot about us.
Yes. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thank you, Wayne. And
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah,
No
thank
problem.
you. Have a great night, man.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right.
That was cool. That was
Yeah.
real cool.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get back into the movie. Like I said, so I wanted to break down each character. So we kind of talked about all of the different characters. And the last guy is Mr. Lee. And he's bonding with Barry as soon as he meets him. We see Miss Chen, and also we see Jerry, Barry's dad, talking in the restaurant. And that's when we kind of find out that Barry's mom had died.
Yeah.
She's trying to find out, the issues between them. Now, Barry and Mr. Lee weren't at the table. They were in the back. And we kind of get a glimpse of Mr. Lee's personality. He's a silly guy.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. He even gives Barry a nickname. He calls him Mr. Dumpling.
Yeah, Mr. Dumpling. That's right.
That's a ridiculous name, but it kind of has, it kind of opens Barry up a little bit. And I think that's pretty cool. A lot of times I give my students also, I give them little nicknames. Nothing like Mr. Dumpling or anything.
No. Mine usually has to do with like their name. I say their name in the wrong way. I just do it on purpose, just so that way they think I don't know how to pronounce stuff. It's just
So
like
pretty soon after that, we get a glimpse of Mr. Lee's style of karate because I guess a biker gang has come in. And they are being rude. Miss Chen comes to the back of the restaurant in the kitchen and tells her uncle and Barry what's going on. And they have Barry's dad sitting at the table, pretty much surrounded. And Mr. Chen decides he's going to go into drunken kung fu mode.
Yeah,
He splashes some liquor, alcohol on him to give the perception that he's back there drunk. And he comes out and he beats these guys all up. I mean, it's one of those situations where, okay, this is really, really cheesy. But we see that he knows how to defend himself and he can fight. And supposedly to us, Mr. Chen is supposed to be a badass, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Anything else about this scene?
No, man, I thought it was just cool. You got a different perspective, but I mean, I thought the biker gang was kind of cheesy, but
and honestly, man, pretty much through everything as far as when it comes to the fight scenes in this movie is cheesy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and some cheesy. Of that kind of like what Wayne was saying, like it being a PG movie, maybe is why it had to be that way. I don't know, but I think they had to like almost play fight instead of making it like, because even if you had like a real fight scene, that may be too violent for a PG,
Yeah.
Because I remember as a kid, I went for a tryout for a movie that was similar to like this, and
Surf Ninjas.
No, it wasn't that. No, but
Three Ninjas.
And someone was pitching a movie, and we were going to be a part of it and stuff, and it was kind of like Three Ninjas, but worse. So yeah. So
that must have been Three Ninjas 2,
right?
Because that was worse than the first one.
Yeah. We can get into that another time. Oh,
yeah, I believe Hulk Hogan was in actually the third one.
The fourth one, I think. That was actually the fourth
Hulk Hogan was in the fourth one? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I couldn't watch that one.
I knew a kid in that one too. I knew one of the kids that was Tum Tum. That kid used to compete in sport karate.
Okay.
So yeah.
So after that, also after Mr. Lee beats up this biker gang, he wants to help Barry with his asthma also. Right. So he tells him from now on, your dad's not going to take you to school anymore. You're going to walk.
Right.
And the next day, that's what Barry does. He walks to school. He starts to daydream on his walk, and once again he thinks that he's in the military. And he's actually acting it out because in his daydream, he jumps on the ground and he does that in real life.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, man, this kid has some issues.
Yeah, he did. And that's when Lauren sees him and she sees him and she asks him if he wants to ride. And he says, no, I'm going to walk or whatever. And you can see the concern that she has for him.
Yeah. So, yeah, she kind of, as we get, I think this next scene, the friends or the bullies kind of start saying that she just pities him,
Well, yeah, I mean, because actually the bully Randy, they're in class and the teacher is asking questions and the students are supposed to answer these questions. And he's asking Randy a question. He doesn't know the answer, but Lauren gives the answer to Barry. Barry's looking at her and she tells him, and he answered the question. And the teacher kind of makes a joke out of Randy because he did not know the answer to the question. And that upset Randy,
yeah.
So he was embarrassed. So then after that, he decides to take it out on Barry.
Yeah.
And that's when he tells him that, she really doesn't like you.
Correct.
She's just, she pities you. She feels sorry for you,
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and then from there, we kind of just get into the craziness of it.
Yeah, so pretty much after that, so now that we know all of the characters, we find out what's going on. We know how they're behaving. Barry was actually on the ground, I guess in a locker room for a gym class. And, once again, Randy knocks him down. And then that's when he tells him that that she pities
you. She just pities you, yeah.
And that actually planted a seed in his head because I don't think if he never would have said that to him, what happened later on wouldn't have caused him to have an asthma attack. Actually, he's in gym class. And everyone is working out and training. He daydreams. We're not even going to his little daydream sequence that he has.
No.
So he daydreams again, and his teacher wakes him up, and his teacher makes him climb the rope. He wants him to climb the rope, and actually Barry, as he's climbing the rope, he spazzes out again and starts daydreaming.
Talking to Chuck.
He's talking to Chuck, but it actually worked and it helped him, and he was able to climb this rope. And Lauren is watching; she's cheering for him, and he feels good about himself after he does it because he does what he's supposed to do. He climbs up that rope and
push through.
Yeah. But he had to look crazy to all those people when he was talking to Chuck.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is literally having a conversation with nobody.
Right. He's like talking to the other rope. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I said that's kind of dangerous. Like, imagine if he never got himself cured. Like, imagine if he was driving and just kind of spazzes out. I mean, he could have caused some serious problems for some people, Yeah.
It reminds me too much of another show that I watch called Rescue Me, and the guy it's based on the FDNY, and his his cousin that died in 9/11 comes back and he talks to him throughout the whole series.
Oh wow!
And so things like that happen, and yeah, it's almost the exact same way, but a little funnier.
Right. So after he climbs the rope, he does it. He feels good about himself. Lauren is talking with him, and he decides to shoot his shot.
Yeah.
when he's walking home.
He's like, hey,
let's go out. Yeah, he wants to go out with her, and she declines.
Yeah.
And he says, well, she says that just that the other kids, they're picking on you, and I feel bad. So now he is remembering what Randy told him. Yeah. So he runs home, and as he runs home, he has an asthma attack. And this is a bad asthma attack that he has because now this time he doesn't have anything in his inhaler.
Right.
And when he gets home, all he can do is just sit on his front porch. And when he wakes up, he I guess he passes out because the next scene he's in a dream, and he can't breathe in this dream.
Right. And
then when he wakes up out of this dream, we see him. He's actually in the ambulance on his way to the hospital. His dad. I guess his dad came home and found him. Took him to the hospital. Once in the hospital, he calls Miss Chen and Miss Lee, and then they come to check on him at the hospital. And Mr. Lee tells them, okay, we're gonna scale it back a little bit, and we're gonna take things a little
work
slow.
our way up. Yeah.
So we see how much these people care about this boy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, and that's what I think should inspire other people and instructors and everyone just to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I'm going to fast forward a little bit now because we start seeing a lot of the training. Right. And he's actually doing real karate, which I like, or kung fu karate, whatever. He's doing it. He's not doing the wax on, wax off. He's actually doing real karate. He's doing real punches. He's doing real kicks. Mr. Lee, I don't know why he decides to teach him how to break boards and center blocks. I didn't get that. Why he decided to do that. I mean, because
a mental thing. But
I guess so, because technically Barry is a white belt. One of the things that I did like about this is Barry, I love this part of the movie. Mm-hmm. Barry is not doing karate for self-defense because he was not being physically bullied. He was being mentally bullied, and they were talking about him. But he was not doing karate like Daniel in the Karate Kid, where Daniel needed to learn self-defense to protect himself. He's doing this for his own personal health,
growth and health.
Yes.
Mental, everything. Yeah.
Everything that we've talked about when a new parent comes into the karate school. You know, this is what we're teaching them. We don't really, at least I don't. I'm assuming you don't either. But we don't talk about fighting or anything. I never bring up fighting to my parents.
No. Like I'll teach that to on the floor. When it comes to self-defense and stuff, on what we need to do. But the biggest thing is about confidence and believing in yourself, and getting out of your comfort zone and those types of things. So
and also Mr. Lee is also teaching him how to control his asthma, because he has him doing some cardiovascular drills also to help his lungs.
Right. And I mean, that's a big deal. I think especially around this time too, like I knew everybody had asthma in the 90s, man, the early 90s. It seemed like tons of kids. So, I mean, I think so many kids could relate to this. So,
yeah. My son's mother has asthma really, really bad. Like almost like actually worse than what Barry has.
Wow.
She's one of those extreme cases.
Extreme ones,
and so it's been times where after Champ was born, like I was taking her to the hospital every 2 or 3 weeks, and she had to have a special surgery to help. And now her asthma is a lot better than what it used to be. So. But by doing this, the training that he was going through with Mr. Lee, Barry is getting stronger, because now we see Barry. He's participating in gym class now, and he's doing the physical activity. The teacher doesn't want any part of it. He tells him to stand it out. On me. Right, But Barry says, no, I can do it. And he sticks with it, and he pretty much does. He's doing the push-ups and everything. The next scene after that, we see Mr. Lee gives Barry the nunchucks, and now he's learning how to use the nunchucks. Right. When I first saw this, I did not think that this was going to be, the end of the movie, pretty much. Him. I always thought, okay, they're building up to him to fight Randy Cellini, just like they did in the Karate Kid and most other movies that you see. So that was an interesting swerve that they did at the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't a fight. it was the forms, and then the next thing, how they finish it. So pretty much after that, a lot of the rest of the movie is Barry training montages and stuff. Yeah. Right.
After that, real quick, we have a situation where Barry is walking through the gym and Randy is bothering him. But now Barry has been training for a little bit, so he's starting to get a little bit of confidence in himself. So he responds back. He's just not taking the verbal abuse, and he gives it back to Randy. Randy gets embarrassed and decides, okay, well, I'm going to fight. So this is the first physical confrontation that we've seen between them at this point. That hasn't been in a dream sequence.
Correct.
And as he's fighting, Barry, he's getting hit, but he's also hitting back. And everyone in the gym, all of the students are watching, and they're cheering for Barry. as he's fighting. Like I said, he's getting hit, but he's getting right back up, and he's giving it right back to Randy Cellini.
Randy, yeah.
Yeah. And I think Randy he's pretty much embarrassed because Randy has no idea that Barry knows karate.
Right.
you know?
Well, and different than the Karate Kid, like we don't really hear too much. Like we never really saw Randy doing karate until this scene, really, right?
Right.
He mentioned that, you know, my instructor or whatever, I was there and I saw when your dad walked on the mat or whatever.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, it wasn't like Johnny where we knew Johnny was like BA, like he was the man in that area, you know what I mean? But it was different. So that part probably could have been, you know, built up a little better for us to know how good he was.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm going to fast forward a little bit now. One thing I did like was his teacher did see the fight and he liked it, and he you know he gave him a little wink and a smile and told him, you know, good job, whatever. So I like that.
Yeah.
And now after that, I guess he impressed Lauren because now she likes him now all of a sudden.
There you go.
After that, he has a daydream, and that was most definitely a winning moment.
Yeah, it was a winning moment. Yeah, definitely.
After that, he has a daydream, but this time the daydream is different. At the woman, when we first see the woman in this daydream, it's Miss Chen, but by the end of it, it's not Miss Chen anymore. It's Lauren.
Yeah,
and you know him and Chuck rescue her, and Chuck even says like, "What's going on?" And he says, "Oh, this is my dream." So now he's starting to be able to control the dreams inside of the dream.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. He's taking it, you know, by the horns. So.
That's right. Did I call her Wendy? Did I say Wendy? Or did I say Lauren? I don't know.
No, you said Lauren.
Okay.
Thinking,
You implanted that in my head now.
Yeah.
Okay, so after that, after the embarrassment, Randy brings up a tournament flyer to Barry and challenges him to the tournament because now he knows that Barry knows karate. And he agrees.
Boom.
He takes it back to Miss Chen and Mr. Lee, and they agree that they're going to be part of the team. And they start preparing for the tournament.
Yeah.
So, like we talked
all the rules. So.
Yeah. So, like originally, I thought it was going to be like the Karate Kid, but it wasn't. It's a team tournament.
Team thing, which is cool.
Yeah. So we have the forms, we have the weapons, we have the breaking, and we have the fighting. Now, what confused me about the tournament, well, at first we get to the registration. They only have 3 people. You have to have 4 people for this team. And they only have 3 people. They see Chuck Norris come into the tournament. And like I said, they just walked right up to him and asked him to join his team. I guess they just told him what had been going on with Barry, and I guess they gave him a sob story, and he decided. Right. I guess he just so happened to have his gear at the tournament, and he decides to join a team.
Anyone would have let him borrow his gear, though.
Right.
I mean, their gear.
So he's going to be the fighter on the team. Miss Chen is going to do forms. Mr. Lee does the breaking, and Barry does forms. Now,
weapons.
Weapons. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. Okay, so now this is the part that I had a problem with in the movie.
Okay.
I'm assuming we saw that Miss Chen did not win the forms. We saw the woman who won forms was from the Stone Karate Academy.
Right.
Now, when we saw Mr. Chen break, I'm assuming Mr. Chen won his break.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that Barry won the weapons division.
Right.
That's what it seemed like when Wayne he did his nunchucks for him, and I just assumed Barry won that. Right. And I assumed that Chuck Norris won the fighting.
Right.
So I thought, that should be it. That's 3. That they won 3 divisions.
Yeah.
But somehow it was tied at the end of the movie. Well, so there had to be a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I don't remember if all of them won or not. I mean, I know Mr. Chen, I think, won his, but I don't
Chuck
remember.
had to win.
Well, I know Chuck won, but I don't remember if Barry actually won or not. I think he might have gotten second or tied or something.
We should have asked Wayne that.
Yeah, I know. We should have asked him that.
As sweet as that nunchuck form was, he should not have lost.
No. Only thing I could think of is that she got third or something, and or maybe it was points. Who knows? I mean,
who knows?
but anyways, it ends up in a tiebreaker.
A tie.
At the end.
That's right. So in the tie, Mr. Lee decides that Barry is going to compete. And
where did we get Mr. Chin from?
Because Noreen,
Miss Chin. There we go.
Yes,
right,
she's Miss Chin and he's Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee. All right.
Yeah, so I keep
wait a minute.
Yeah, so I keep getting their names messed up.
Yeah.
So and once again, this was something that threw me off. Barry was doing weapons. If Barry was going to compete, why wouldn't Barry do weapons?
Why tiebreaker?
Now, yeah, because I know. Okay, I guess they decided who was going to go out. Stone said that Randy Cellini was going to compete, and they picked breaking. So I was just kind of confused, like, okay, why he hadn't? We have not seen him doing any type of breaking, really.
Just that one time he was teaching him.
Just he was, but and he had to go up and he had to break, and he did 2 breaks. The first one he broke it, just like him and Randy did both. The second time Randy attempted to break, he did not break all of his bricks, but Barry did, and he went through and. He won. He won.
And he lit it on fire too, right?
Yeah, he lit it on fire. That was pretty. The way they did it, it was sweet. But to me, it seemed like if this was a real life situation, the conflict with Barry and Randy would not have ended right there.
Right.
Because there still was a situation. There was still a problem between them, and honestly, it could have been worse now because, okay, Randy probably could have beat him up at school the next day.
Right. Bricks don't hit back,
Yeah, I mean, because now he Barry and with this break right here that we were looking at, Barry embarrassed Randy again because he's a novice and Randy obviously has been training longer. So I would think at school the next day, Barry might have got hit in the back of the head or something,
Correct. It's funny just seeing that. I just noticing about 2 or 3 people that I knew.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's cool.
And lastly about this movie, man. This is something else I just picked up on Saturday when I saw it the second time. We see Barry talking on the bench, talking to Chuck Norris, and he's thanking him for everything, right? And then Barry walks away, and Chuck is sitting there on the bench by himself, and Barry looks back, and Chuck is gone. And it always kind of threw me off back in the day because I'm like, oh, so he's just magical now. But when I watched it Saturday, I thought, oh, that's not the real Chuck Norris he was talking to. That was his imaginary friend that he was talking to.
Yeah.
I just got that.
Yeah.
I just got that true. Saturday.
Yeah. See, at one point, this movie almost made me think that he was imagining him being a part of the team.
I thought that too. I thought that too. Until the if no one else had interacted with Chuck, I would have thought this was a daydream.
Right.
But because Mr. Lee and Miss Chin and Barry did introduce his dad to Chuck Norris, I said, he's really there. He's not daydreaming. Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's a good movie. Yeah, I like the movie. It has some cheesy parts in it, and it is one of those movies that you can tell your students to go watch. Yeah, I have to always stop myself from telling the kids, to watch Cobra Kai because some of the language in Cobra Kai.
Exactly. No. I mean, I have kids coming in right now because of Cobra Kai, and I'm like, should you really be watching that? But I'm not going to.
I have to. Yeah. I have to. When they bring it up to me, it's okay. I don't bring it up to them. But a lot of times, they'll bring it up to me and say, I watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool,
Yeah.
But we need more movies like this to help promote karate. Especially if it's going to make kids want to come join karate schools.
Correct. Yeah. Several of my friends, when I posted about we doing us doing the show tonight, they had said this is the movie that got me into karate, man. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. I think it went a different way than Karate Kid. There were some things that were way better in this than Karate Kid. There were
Yes.
some things that were a little
Yeah.
cheesy. I mean, I
Yeah.
think Joe.
It's
being in there-
actually it's a lot. And, you know, if you noticed, I didn't even bother talking about the Chuck Norris and Joe Piscopo. It was just ridiculous.
That was just silly.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah.
Yeah, it was silly.
That
It was
part,
stupid.
yeah.
It was. I didn't even want to discuss that part.
No.
If y'all want to see, y'all can watch the movie. It's
Yeah.
on YouTube for everybody, so it's
Yeah.
free. You don't
Free
have to.
for YouTube. Yep.
Yes, it's on YouTube. It's for free, so you guys can go check that out. The movie Sidekicks. But yeah, other than that, man, I see we're running out of time, so I did have some wrestling stuff I wanted to talk with you about. But we can do that later. We'll do that another time.
Sure, man. Yeah, no problem, man. But that was fun. I know it was the first time you guys had a guest on. I just figured
That's right.
It would be kind of cool that we bring on someone, especially this movie. Kind of like you said, it has such a big impact on Texas sport karate and Texas and martial arts in Texas. How it kind of kickstarted their Kickstart program. So that program is in middle schools and high schools all over the state of Texas.
Oh wow!
And so what you do, you're pretty much, instead of a PE teacher, you're a martial arts instructor. And so I know people that have made a living doing that, teaching martial arts in the school systems. And then some of them have done that and have their martial arts school as well. So they teach martial arts full time during the morning and then in the evening with their school. So it's pretty cool.
My uncle used to hook that up for me. I can't remember if Travis used to do it on his own, but my uncle used to do that for me when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Set me up going into the different schools, and even after school programs also.
Right.
So
right.
that was always cool for me.
Yeah, so many of my friends did it for many years, and got a good salary. I mean, doing it, so it's pretty cool.
All right. You know what, man? I did not look to see what I'm watching next week.
Oh wow!
I have no idea what movie I'm watching next week. I don't know, man. I'm not going to just make up something. So I have to. I guess that's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, and we never did the poll like what. You said.
Right. Yeah.
What was one of the ones on there that you talked about?
I can't remember.
I know, I don't remember.
I know
one that I mentioned. I mentioned Surf Ninjas. Was it Perfect Weapon? And I don't remember what the other one was.
You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch a Chuck Norris movie. I have no idea. Since I said I've never watched a Chuck Norris movie besides this movie and besides Way of the Dragon. I'm going to watch my first Chuck Norris movie. I don't know which one yet. I guess it'll be a surprise. I'll let you know, of course. But for the audience, I'll let you guys know sometime later on this week. I'll put it on the Martial Arts Center Network Facebook page. We'll post it there, and I'll let you know which movie we're going to watch for next week. You got anything else, Jeff?
No, man. Thanks for having me again. This was a fun time, and let's just keep sharing it. And those that are listening this morning, have some fun and leave some comments and review the show. That's right. And thanks again to Wayne for showing up on the show tonight and talking to us and giving us the inside scoop on Sidekicks. That's right. That's right. What's up for your show tomorrow? What's up for your show tomorrow? Tomorrow we're going to talk about. I mean, this is a big Texas week in the martial arts center. Last Monday. That's right. Monday they talked about the Texas Virtual Fight Tour. Today this is really a Texas movie, and we brought in Wayne from Texas. And so Alex and I are going to talk about some of the things going on from that event and from the ones that we haven't gotten to talk about. Just sport karate, and then we're also going to bring on Colby Northcutt. So Colby Northcutt is Sage's sister. Colby Northcutt Daniels. I was about to say. She is married. She is Raymond Daniels' wife, and she is also a fighter for ONE FC, for the ONE organization. And she is one of the best female overall sport karate champions of all time. And she is ready to get back into the ring soon and get to fighting again. So it's going to be exciting to talk to her. All right, so make sure that you listen to that interview and listen to that show tomorrow on Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. We're going to wrap it up here for everyone here at the Martial Arts Internet Network. Our director, Travis 40-year-old Plowden, and me, Eugene Plowden, Jeff Doss, and everyone here at the Martial Arts Internet Network, and everybody
That's part of the Black Belt Club collection
Yeah.
at blackbeltclothes.com, and also my comic strip Jump Kick. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll be putting out some new strips pretty soon, and we will see you guys next week. Stay safe, stay strong. Peace.